Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I am not from Romania. I'm from Milwaukee. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show with the usual suspects. We have superstar buddy, wingman, producer, engineer, Howie Darkstar.
Hello, everyone.
Howie's very excited about what we're going to be doing in 2 weeks. He's very excited about it. He'll tell you about it later. He'll do a shameless plug. I know he will.
Oh.
We'll leave you in anticipation for that. And of course,
Excellent.
Pastor J. Brannan.
This stands for, Bud, you don't like it, go home then.
I know something that a lot of you don't know. Jay is not his real name. But
no, it's not.
But he's in the witness protection program, so I'm not going to tell you what it is because that's personal.
I'm eating spaghetti with red sauce, and they call it pasta.
I was in his house, and I saw a plaque on the wall with a different name, and I thought, who is that? He's like, well, that's me. And I'm like, that is not your name. He said, yes, it is.
Yes, it is. There's legal and me.
There's a meme that goes, and I'm doing that meme tonight.
Yeah.
All right, folks. To quote Pastor Jay, I got to be honest with you.
Oh, there you go. Which I only said 16 times last night. Thank you very much.
Don't really have a plan for tonight, but we had an idea last night. Right, Howie?
We had several.
About what to do a show on. And I thought maybe we'd lead off with this and see how it goes.
Let's do it.
I was going through my social media newsfeed, and somebody said, I've never really listened to Jethro Tull songs, nor do I care to. I got a taste of it. It's goofy. I don't even want to bother with this. It just sounds silly and ridiculous. Now, we're all entitled to our opinions. We all have our own likes and dislikes, and there's definitely no shame in that. I definitely have my likes and dislikes. But I would argue that even if you don't like an artist, there's usually, if they have a big catalog, there's usually like a song in the catalog that you're okay with. I'll give you an example. With the Jethro Tull thing, I'm not a Tull fan either, really. It's just not my bag. I don't do Renaissance Fair either, which probably doesn't help. But I really like the song T-shirt by Jethro Tull. It's just different. And a lot of Tull fans dismiss it because it's not progressive enough. It's too mainstream. But I think it's a great song.
Prog rock.
Yeah, it's not prog,
right?
You know. But I like that song. You know, so I'm not going to walk around saying I hate Jethro Tull. I really like that song. I'm wondering if there are any bands that Howie you don't really you wouldn't go see them in concert,
right? But
there's a song they do that you like. Is there a band like that you can think of off the top of your head?
Yes, it would be Judas Priest.
Okay.
Not really my bag. I was never that guy with the cutoff and the horns and the patch on the back. This is my band, and it's the only band in the world. But I do like the song "Living After Midnight."
Me too. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the Turbo album too. It wasn't a popular album, but I had it, and it was fun. It was silly. It wasn't one that a lot of fans liked. But that's a good example. I the band that I can kind of think of that was in my world at the time, almost the sister band to that one, or brother band, whatever you want to call it.
I know exactly what he's going to say.
Iron Maiden.
I knew it. I bet my life. In my head, I bet my entire life at Caesar's Palace, and I won.
But you feel the same way, right? I mean, they were kind of, if you like Judas Priest, you like Iron Maiden. I mean, it was just that.
It was the new wave of British heavy metal. And as you know, and I think Howie knows, I love Iron Maiden and I love Judas Priest. And I've seen both bands like 4 or 5 times.
Right.
Love all those bands.
I would be hard pressed to name my favorite Iron Maiden song. I have a list. Live After Death. I know their catalog. But if I could think of like a really unique Iron Maiden song,
Still Life is unique. Remember Tomorrow is unique. There's the hits, Running to the, Run to the Hills.
Yeah.
Power Slave.
I like that.
There was some weird ones though. There was some weird early stuff.
Oh yeah.
a little different. It wasn't as heavy as
Murder in the Rue Morgue, when they had Paul Di'Anno singing on the first 2 albums. That's like my big trivia thing is, not trivia, but you ask fans, you say Killers or Number of the Beast, because you get Paul Di'Anno or you get Bruce Dickinson. And it's just like saying Highway to Hell or Back in Black.
Now, I will say that the album cover for Killers wins best album cover ever.
Yo, it's scary.
It's the cool. I would hang that on my wall, but I probably wouldn't listen to the album.
No, it's a great cover.
It's kind of like a
it's Ed
t-shirt.
Yeah, that's Eddie, their mascot, and it's like
Eddie
with the hair, and
he's got the hair. He's not bald yet. Eddie's got hair in that with the axe. That's great.
It's a great cover.
So, how about you, Jay? Is there a band that you can think of that, in general, you wouldn't go see them in concert? You wouldn't say you're a fan, but there's a tune you do like.
Man, when we talked about this last night for a second, I had and I'm doing it right now as well. I have a really difficult time because there's so many bands that when I hear something I like by them, I don't think of them as the totality of the band. I just think of that representation.
Right.
I mean, there's no such thing as bad music. There's music you don't like.
Sure.
So I have a very difficult time with this question because I genuinely can't think of a song by a band that I go, oh, I really like this song, but I wouldn't bother to see them. I would still want to see if there's tracks they play that I didn't know. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I understand
in this context. Oh, man.
It's going to be a short show if you can't think anything.
I
try to do one act at a time per person and see how we did.
Right.
You can argue it and debate it, but
no, I thought of it today. I was working on the Expo show.
Well, let me rephrase it for you.
Yeah, give me a different wording. Maybe I'll
give you a different wording and maybe it'll help you. Okay? Let's say a band releases an album and there's a song on it that you like. Maybe you would opt to buy the single instead of the entire album.
That's a nice way of phrasing it.
Maybe
it is a nice way of phrasing it.
Entire album, and you're like, this is early for me, but I really like this song on the album, so I'm going to buy this.
Well,
single.
you know what? I'll give you one, and I can think of like several songs I really like by the band, but I still wouldn't really go see them. The Police.
Sure. Okay.
But I can name like 5 or 6 songs I really, really like.
Sure.
And they aren't the big hits.
Right.
But they never were a band I looked at and said, I want to go see the. I was always about the explosions and lasers, as well as the music. So, when Bob Seger, there's one. I love a bunch of Bob Seger, but I wouldn't go see him in concert.
Sure. So I'll just give you one while you're working this out morally in your head, because I know you're having a conflict here. And I get it. And I really do appreciate your love for music. A band that I am not crazy about, and we talked about this last night. I don't remember if it was on camera or off camera. But a band I don't like, and I've made no secret of it, and incidentally is one of my friend Brian Dowdle's favorite bands, is U2.
Yes, you did we did talk about this on camera.
Was it on camera?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
No.
Well, it was in the room.
It was in the room, but I thought it was
after the recording. Yeah.
After the recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not really like a lot about that band that excites me, and there's not a lot of, as John and Jay pointed out, a lot of resolve to some of the songs or guitar solos and things where you feel like it's complete. There's a guitar solo and it's like, okay, it's ended and I'm satisfied. No, it just leaves you hanging. U2 does that for me a lot, but I like the song Beautiful Day. I think it's a really nice song. Now, I'm the guy who bought Joshua Tree. I bought Octung Baby because I thought I got to be missing something here because everyone loves this band. Couldn't do it. Another one that I like, now that I think about it, that I genuinely enjoy, and I'm pretty confident it's U2 and not just Bono or something, was on the Batman Forever soundtrack where they did that Thrill Me,
Kiss.
Thrill Me, Kiss Me, whatever it was called.
I think it's Thrill Me, Kiss Me.
It's a remake of some kind, isn't it? It's somebody else did that song, and
I don't know if it's a remake. It's a great track.
I like that song.
Yeah, it's a really good track. That's the same one that had Seal, Kiss from a Rose.
Kiss from a Rose. Yep, same soundtrack. So I can name two U2 songs that I can genuinely say I enjoy. Now, I went through the whole Joshua Tree thing in high school. It was big. But With or Without You and all that stuff just went. No. But that's one of my entries. How about you, Howie? Can you think of another one?
I can, and I'm from Jersey, but I never could get into Bon Jovi. And we do have to play Living on a Prayer endlessly. But the one song that I really don't mind, but, honestly, I wouldn't go pay to go see them, but I do enjoy You Give Love a Bad Name. It has a really great hook to it, I think.
It's funny you say that because I kind of feel the same way. I have seen Bon Jovi in concert. Mm-hmm. It was not somebody I paid to go see. It was an unknown opening act for the Scorpions' Love at First Sting tour.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And they had just released the Fahrenheit whatever album. Jay will say what it is.
4800, I think. It's the temperature at which rock melts.
And the song that I did like that they played live was Runaway. I thought Runaway was a nice song.
That was his first hit.
And
no one in the band was on it.
Slippery When Wet, I kind of dismissed that entire thing. I didn't enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they used a formula. Their expression was, don't bore us, get to the chorus. That's why You Give Love a Bad Name. That's the chorus. It starts with, you give love a bad name. That's the chorus. Then it goes into the song. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was lazy rhyming,
I think that it was at that period of time when music was trying to just get in people's heads quickly. We didn't have social media then. I saw Bon Jovi on the tour with Cinderella, on the Slippery When Wet tour at the beginning of it. And I thought they were great. And they've got some killer songs. I think solo-wise, Blaze of Glory is an amazing track from Young Guns soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And if you want to break it down, Aldo Nova's playing guitar in it, and Jeff Beck is doing the slide solo. I mean, you've got some killer people behind him.
One thing that I believe is probably a part of this equation for all of us, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but if a song like You Give Love a Bad Name came out today, I think I would really appreciate it because there's really not a whole lot else going on. But when that song came out, I was doing George Michael's Faith. I was doing Michael Jackson Bad. I was doing all the Stockgate and Waterman stuff. I just didn't have time for this thing.
Right.
Because there was all this other stuff that I liked a lot more. House music, Inner City, all this cool stuff was happening. Why would I bother with Shot Through the Heart and You're to Blame, You Give Love a Bad Name, when I've got, stuff like, Prince putting out Sign of the Times. I mean, come on,
Right.
Okay, I will say this. Lori in the comment section has said, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, originally by Mel Carter, 1965.
Wow.
Wait, the U2 track from Batman is a 65 song?
By Mel Carter.
Is Mel Carter the voice of Daffy Duck? That Mel?
You'll have to ask Lori because
Mel Carter.
Oh.
And she's also quite the cinephile. She knows what movies the songs were in and stuff like that.
I knew it was a remake. I just couldn't remember who did it and when. So there you go. It was a remake.
Wow.
And they did a nice job with it. It's kind of like Bono did another remake like that. Kind of in the similar vein where he really made it his own. And there was more resolve. Dr. Resolve. Because somebody else wrote it, so they couldn't screw it up. And that was...
Oh, Mel Blanc. Thank you, Lori. No, Mel Blanc was the voice of Daffy or all those weird voices.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mel Blanc, yeah.
So, God, what am I talking about, man? Brain damage. Help me out. Bring me back here. What was I saying? I can't remember. Oh,
you were saying you should listen to "Boy" by U2, their first album.
There was an album that was released, and I think it was either 89 or 90 or something like that. It's called Red Hot and Blue. It was a benefit for AIDS research, and Cherry was on it, and everybody was on it, and Bono was on it. I don't think it was U2. It was Bono specifically, and they did a remake of Cole Porter's "Night and Day." In fact, every song on the album was a Cole Porter remake. And his version of Night and Day was kind of the bomb. It was good.
Did you hear he did a duet with Frank Sinatra I think they do Under My Skin. And it's Bono and Frank Sinatra.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nina Cherry did I Got You Under
Not
My
in that one, but I'm saying a separate Bono project. Frank Sinatra did a duets album with all these like up and comers.
Sure.
Or new pop artists. And I think Chrissy Hynde is on it. Bono's on it. There's a bunch of people. But Bono did Under My Skin. And Saturday Night Live spoofed it with Joe Piscopo getting mad at Bono. Like, who the hell is this cat? Like, smacking him around and stuff. It was pretty funny.
They did the same thing to Halliday with What Is Love when they did that skit, and they beat that to death.
Holloway. There was a follow-up to Red Hot and Blue called Red Hot and Dance, and that's where we got like George Michael's Too Funky. That was on there and not on a George Michael album, and neither here nor there. I'm sorry. Jay, Howie. I think Howie went. Jay, your turn. Think of an artist that you might only buy the single if the song came out because you really liked it, but you really didn't need the whole album.
You know what? Bob Marley.
Okay.
I'm gonna get hate on this, but Bob Marley.
No, you're not. I'm with you on this.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not a reg. And this that I just bought on CD from Amazon, as I told everybody, this is a reggae group from San Diego, and they had a version of Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix, and I couldn't find it because it got pulled by the Hendrix Foundation, so I had to buy the disc.
What's the Marley song that you dig?
Honestly, No Woman, No Cry.
Okay.
The 6-minute live one. I just think that's a gorgeous, beautiful song. And he's got other tracks, but it's like if you said, back in the day, hey, we're going to see Bob Marley, I would have been like, yeah, I'm out.
All right.
And I'm starting a trend, the Police and Bob Marley. There's a reggae trend here.
I noticed that. I really do like the Police. I don't dislike Bob Marley. I've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, and I wouldn't listen to Bob Marley in my free time, but oddly enough, since my father's passing, I think about a lot of weird things. Like my dad was very much into country music. He had a tin ear, but my dad liked country because there were stories, And I can't help but to think if my father had ever heard Bob Marley's Three Little Birds, he would have liked that song.
That's a good song.
Kind of his philosophy. Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's going to be all right. That's the kind of stuff my father would say to me. Right. My father said it to me in the hospital bed when I had my stroke. I mean, that was just how he really felt about things. You know what? It's going to be fine. No matter what, it's going to be okay. That would have been a song that he really would have.
It's a great philosophy.
So,
well, I mean,
I think I like it because of that.
Yeah. No, and I get that. This is on topic, but off topic a little.
Sure.
I didn't get in high school. All my friends were hugely into Grateful Dead.
Uh-huh.
And they would play the Boston area 3 or 4 times a year. They were constantly, some iteration was there.
Uh-huh.
And I just was like, I don't get this. Like, what are you guys thinking? Like, get out.
Right. Yeah.
But I also wasn't a big Doors fan. I wasn't a big Hendrix fan. Like that period, CCR, all that. But as I've gotten older, it's funny how I've gone back to things and been like, man, I really, I get it now. Like
that's what I was talking about earlier. At the time, you didn't have time for it, but now maybe you can revisit it.
And that's it. So as we're discussing this, I'm vastly opening up to, man, I never would have gone to this, but now, but I think of it more as, I get people not liking Jethro Tull and not liking prog rock, but I would be happy to introduce you to like Home by the Sea by Genesis and certain tracks that you might listen to and go, I do like this. Well, this is prog rock, and this could be a gateway for you. I get your thing about U2. A lot of people like that. Yeah. My greatest song by U2 is Another Time, Another Place. It came out in like 1980.
Yeah.
Like go listen to Boy, their first album.
Right. Yeah.
A much different experience than listening to even Joshua Tree or Akchung or, any of the newer kind of weirder stuff. I mean, their early stuff was almost punky.
Intellectually, I kind of give Boy a pass because, like you said, it was punk. It was like very much a freshman effort, and for what it was as a freshman effort, it ain't bad. But I still wouldn't listen to it in my free time. But I give it more of a pass than I do Joshua Tree.
Yeah, but a side question: do you not program your music to the environment? I.e., if I said to you, "Hey, Brian, I've got this, 71 Cuda convertible and we're going to drive down to the beach today. Can you bring some music?" wouldn't you automatically be like, okay, hot sunny day, convertible, we're outside, here's what I'm bringing? Wouldn't it be different if I said, hey, Brian, I've got a hardtop 71 CUDA, and tomorrow night we're going to drive up to the mountains? To me, those are two entirely different soundtracks.
Yeah, I think, I'm with you on that. Yeah. And my programming for that would be personal probably, and you may or may not get it. But I would definitely get it.
Which one, day or night?
Either one.
I've actually made crates for both. I call it cruising at night. Yeah. And then I have a day one. Yeah. I mean, and that's not to play out, but just for my own personal.
We talked about Low Spark Ohio Boys, and I've told this story famously. That and Royal Scam by Steely Dan. My old 78 Aspen wagon, in the rain, the windshield wipers would catch it, and they'd be on beat. And I would literally pass my house, the exit, the freeway, the town, go into the next state, whatever it took to listen to those two, because that's 22 minutes of music. And it's mesmerizing, again, when the cassette is going with, and you're just lost in it. But it was a nighttime thing.
The what? The cassette?
I think about like when I was talking about this off camera before I went on my broadcast marathon tonight, which I've been on with Howie since 8:00 Central Time. I was at a cruise night, and it was a cruise night at a senior living center. And one thing that a lot of these cruise nights have in common when they have entertainment is that, and I give the senior living place a pass because of, the clients at the senior living center. But most car shows that I go to all have the same thing in common. They're playing music from the 50s. They're doing Jerry Lee Lewis. They're doing Charlie Brown. He's a clown. They're doing that kind of stuff. And I always thought it was weird because when I drive around in the 65 that's in the driveway right now, I am not listening to Motown from the mid 60s or any of that. In fact, I don't even associate that music with that car. I wasn't born yet. What I think about are people like my brother, who's like in his late 50s right now, and what he was listening to when he was driving cars like that, because they were $600-700 cars that you could afford to buy and drive to high school and hot rod. So it's Boston. Yeah, they did Beach Boys, but it's Boston, and it's
Aerosmith.
It's Van Halen. It's Led Zeppelin. It's the Cars. It's even the Joe Jackson Look Sharp album, which I've turned Jay on too. Yes. I hope.
Well, I'd heard it. I didn't get the whole Anthrax correlation.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I think about when I'm programming, at a car show. And people who are at the car show, I haven't done one in years, but that's what I do. They'll come up to me and say, "This is so cool and it's unique, and it's bringing back memories for me." Because I'm looking at the people who are in attendance, and I'm thinking to myself, how old were they in 1975? How old were they in 1980? And I'll go all the way into like Aldo Nova's Fantasy and Red Ryder, Lunatic Fringe, and just cruising.
Right.
But not when they get older, it gets older. Right. But I talked to a guy at a wedding a couple weeks ago, and he came up to me, and I was playing some kind of classic rock. And he goes, "Man, I'm loving this music." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." He goes, This is so in my wheelhouse. This is like my stuff. And it was Boston, it was Aerosmith, it was Queen, it was Bad Company. Yeah. And I go, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Music's funny with age." He goes, "Yeah. My wife's a couple years younger. She's just like, man, I love this stuff." But the bride and groom are like in their 20s. Like, how are you, what's the correlation? I said, "Oh, they said, to play the music that for cocktail we'll do classic, for dinner we're doing something different, then dance music will be a little bit more modern." I said, it's funny, though, to me as the DJ, when I hear people say, "Well, I'm going to have my older parents and grandparents, like people in their 60s and 70s, and my brain automatically goes to, so, your grandmother was probably just like raging.
Yeah.
And doing disco." And I won't say what I normally. That's exactly. Yeah. And this guy said to me, he goes, "Dude, it's so funny you say that. We were just talking about how we were doing coke in the 80s and we knew it wasn't addictive." And I'm like, this guy is like 63 years old. And I'm like,
sure.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. It becomes period piece. But I think that whole American Graffiti, which for our younger viewers was a movie that kind of introduced us to various people like Suzanne Summers and Ron Howard and Cindy Williams and Richard Dreyfuss and
Harrison
not Kevin
Ford.
Costner, Harrison Ford. And this was a big movie about the 50s that
Before
actually
any of them were famous, right?
Oh, it actually brought us a series by Gary Marshall called Happy Days, which then brought us a series based in Bryanstown called Laverne and Shirley, because his sister, Penny Marshall, was in it. And
not my sister.
No, Gary Marshall's sister. But the point is, that has become the synonymous. Like, if you say to me, oh, we're doing a cruising night, my brain goes to the Beach Boys 409 and all these songs about, leader of the pack. And they're very time sensitive. But somebody today,
they're very pedestrian,
who owns a 65 Mustang is probably in their 50s or 60s. And if I drop Boston or Old Kiss or Led Zeppelin, they're going to have a kinship with, like, oh, dude, this is exactly what I heard in high school when I was thinking about this car.
I was going to bring up another artist that I recently started earning some understanding and an appreciation for this artist, but it's been pretty unpopular that I've said these kind of things publicly. Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen. I have a hard time with Bruce Springsteen.
What do you have a hard time with?
It's just very jam band stuff. Like, his albums and these epic long songs and things, they never grab me. I love the song Hungry Heart, though.
Yeah.
There's something about that tune.
I saw them before they hit it big. It was before the Asbury Park album came out, but they really toured heavily, and they were, like you said, a jam band. They were famous for playing those 3.5, 4-hour shows when they were really only contracted for 2 hours.
Yeah.
They gave the people their money's worth.
There was a Harley Davidson, I think it was 105th or 110th or something. I did a gig log about it, but I was literally competing with Bruce Springsteen. He was playing down the hill from the place I was playing at, so you could hear him every night. Yeah, I mean, we did fine, but
he's notorious for giving the audience that value. But when you say jam band, and I'm not correcting, but I'm just saying, and from at least my perspective, if you say jam band, that's the Grateful Dead, Fish, Blues Traveler, bands that put out a 3-minute song that lie, Allman Brothers.
Right.
When you go to see them live, suddenly this 3.5-minute song turns into a 20-minute song, and
he does that. He does that.
I don't think of him he doesn't have the players for it. Yeah, I've seen Bruce Springsteen. He must have played like 800 songs that night, but he didn't do like super long, drawn out solos by anybody that I recall. Maybe my memory is.
You know what a lot of his stuff reminds me of, and a guy I just don't like is Meatloaf. It's like theatrical, big, epic stuff. I don't really like that, but I love Hungry Heart. Lori mentions Born in the USA.
I didn't play it on July 4th.
Off Born in the USA.
Vietnam song.
Well, no, she was talking about Dancing in the Dark. I don't like any righteous music.
It's a protest song. Well, you know what? He has a great track called We Take Care of Our Own, and that's technically tragically, it's more of a anti what's going on than it is what I wish it was, which is we take care of our own as a country kind of thing. But that's a whole nother discussion.
You know what Hungry Heart's
Listen
about?
to Tunnel of Love sometime.
You know what Hungry Heart's about?
No.
And neither do I, because I've never paid attention to the lyrics, but I like the song.
Yeah. Listen to the song Tunnel of Love sometime. I think you'll walk away and say, I like this song. Because it's a great track.
I'm not a big hip hop rhyme guy. I don't do lyrics. So if it's like this meaningful lyrical thing, it'll go right over my head. I just don't do it.
I place a lot of credence in lyrics. I do, as well as melodies and all that. That's great. Try Tunnel of Love sometime. Seriously, try Tunnel of Love. I think it's on the next album after Born in the USA. I think you'd enjoy it.
What do you got, Howie? Who's an artist you can think of?
I'm going to go with something a little bit different, and I'm going to say a genre. I've never really cared for country, so I wouldn't buy a whole album, but I have purchased things like, Boot, Scoot, and Boogie, Ride a Horse, Save a Cowboy,
Sure.
Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. I mean, these are things I just had to have.
Crossover stuff.
They're crossover, they're requested.
For work.
That's for work. What about you personally? Would you have bought any of that for you personally?
I would have bought, some of the Shania Twain stuff because it was crossover type.
Yeah.
This is why we need a third. We need a fourth person.
Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. I would have bought that.
Okay. I was going to say we need a fourth person because I want a voice drop, like Howard Stern style. I want a voice drop of Howie going, "Man, I feel like a woman," and I just want that clip. I just want to save that clip to once in a while be able to go, "Wow, man, I feel like a woman."
Country, that would be an interesting one because that's not my bag at all. But it's crossover stuff. Like, I mean, I love, as Jay does as well, England Dan and John Ford Colby, and that's wonderful stuff. That's crossover, but it's more pop than country. I love Olivia Newton-John. She went on my radar with A Little More Love.
Yep.
And I don't even know if that's crossover. Dolly Parton did a song called Here You Come Again that was a crossover song that I really do
Dolly's amazing. I saw her in concert once. 2.5 hours. She played every instrument, nails and all, and killed it.
There are songs off of the Urban Cowboy soundtrack that I really genuinely enjoy, but I'm not sure that they're country songs.
Mm-hmm. What about the darker time? And by darker, I mean the Johnny Cash, the Waylon Jennings, even Willie Nelson's early stuff, where it's like
I have to think really hard and come up with something. What I do enjoy, and I always hated it as a child because it was kind of thrust upon me, I like old country, like the stuff my dad used to play, like
Hank
Jimmy
Williams?
Dickens and Kitty Wells. No, before that,
Conway
Kitty
Twitty.
Wells.
Oh, Kitty Wells. Earl Scruggs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going bluegrass country, like way.
Pre-rock and roll stuff.
Well, that's like saying blues and saying I like Robert Johnson, but I don't like Buddy Guy. Like going way to you going to the original.
It's what we always in my household called twang.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was.
I enjoy old twang, and some of the stuff that my dad would play. Pistol Packin' Mama is a song that comes to mind. Cattle Call. I mean, there's just some cool songs that
totally.
And
like Hank
even
Williams.
like
no, he said even earlier.
Yeah, earlier than that. This goes way back.
Even earlier than Hank Williams.
When I was a young DJ, and I was trying to build my CD collection because I was trying to go from records to CDs. I took a job at a place called CD Exchange, and it was it was like a pawn shop. It was like a record store. We bought and sold CDs, and it was.
I think they were a chain because I've been to a CD Exchange. Yeah,
they were a chain, and they were based here in Oshkosh. In Oshkosh, they were based. I worked there long enough to get what I needed and got the hell out because it was a miserable job. But somebody brought in a 4-disc box set, and it was like a box, like a 12-inch album cover box.
Yeah,
and it was the Smithsonian Collection of Country Music.
Oh my God!
And I bought it for my dad, and my dad would tell people. I mean, even a few years ago, the best gift I was ever given was this box set from Brian. This is the most thoughtful, coolest gift I ever got. I ripped it in as soon as we could rip CDs. Like 10 years later, I ripped all that stuff into my computer, and it goes way back. And I think it wraps up probably at Achy Breaky Heart. But the first 2 discs are really cool, and it's old stuff. Like, in my dad's world, a new artist was like Statler Brothers. You know, that was like, Flowers on the Wall was like a new song in my father's world. Everything that he liked was.
I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah.
No, I totally.
I do enjoy that. I do enjoy that. As far as the new country goes, I got to take a pass.
It's very poppy. I recall with so much fondness and love my dad pointing out to me when I first mentioned I wanted to play guitar, saying how Roy Clark, Glenn Campbell, those were the guys that were really talented.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh,
and then years later, and I remember this with such fondness, out of nowhere, my dad says, "You know who I saw last night?" I said, "No, who'd you see last night?" He said, "I saw the greatest guitar player I've ever seen." I said, what did you see?
Right?
No, this is the shocker. This is about 5 years before he died. And he says, "I saw a thing on PBS with a guy named David Gilmour." And it was his live on the island, his solo album.
Yes.
And my dad, and I ended up buying my dad the DVD, and he was so happy about it. And I was just like, I went through high school listening to Nugent and all these artists and bands and Aerosmith, and, having that conflict that you have with parents when you're like in your room playing guitar and trying to learn, Cat Scratch Fever. And it's like, oh, this Ted Nugent thing. What is this crap? And blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, for a moment, we had that, we had that thing where it was like, oh no, I've seen that, Dad. That's awesome. And it's that expanding. But, I said it today to somebody talking about music. And I said, the tragedy of life is that I will not live long enough to hear all the great music.
Yeah.
Right.
I will die without hearing it all, because there's every once, and it's, every few days something hits me that I'm like, what is this? Oh, this is so-and-so. I've never heard this before.
There's an artist I was thinking about that from go, I didn't like, I resented, I felt like it was pandering to what was happening at the time. Alanis Morissette. I remember Stevie's mother, buying Jagged Little Pill.
Oh, okay.
I put
so there's a backstory, though.
Well, no, it was the whole Meredith Brooks thing. It was the Sarah McLachlan thing. It was Indigo Girls. It was all
that Lilith Fair period.
Yeah, the women's music movement. And it was like pandering to the angry woman thing.
Right.
And I thought, So as an artist, I'm like, she does a song I love. I love it. And it was, to my knowledge, the last single she put out.
Thank you.
No, that was off Jagged Little Pill. That was, and that stuff I just dismissed completely. And I don't like the way she sings and the way she enunciates things when she's singing on that album. I just generally don't like it. She does a remake of Seal's Crazy that's amazing. Absolutely.
I haven't
amazing.
heard it.
I turned up on a promo only.
Wow.
It
haven't
is
heard it.
So good. She makes it her own, and I like it better than Seal's version.
I'm on YouTube right now.
Alanis Morissette, Crazy. It is so good.
By the way, I asked you to try this.
That song.
Well, I asked you to try this because if you want to lose it over Alanis Morissette, who I saw 4 years ago at Kaboo, right before, she was the last act before Tom Petty's first to last show before he died. I saw him on a Sunday. He died the following Monday. And the act before him was Alanis Morissette, and her voice was shot. And she came out and said, after the first track, "I'm just telling you guys up front, I'm really sorry. My voice is not there tonight." And it cracked every track. She was cracking, and people still applauded. But if you get a chance, YouTube it. She did an acoustic session of her Jagged Little Pill. Let me tell you, Head Over Feet, Mary Jane acoustic, I defy you not to walk away and go, that was amazing.
I'm not suggesting that they're not good pop songs. It just wasn't anything that was turning me on. No,
but I'm saying it takes it to a different level when she does the acoustic version. It's sort of like when MTV did the whole, hey, let's get Bon Jovi and let's call it Unplugged. Mm-hmm. And bands suddenly had to be able to play. But there is that transcendence of music where it becomes an entirely different song.
Yeah, if you've never heard Alanis Morissette's Crazy, treat yourself to it. Once we wrap this show, I'll go ahead and share it in the room so you can hear it. So you're not listening to it while we're trying to.
No, I'm not going to do it while we're talking.
But I'll put it on so we can all, because Howie doesn't know it either. It's really good.
And I'll give Jay his wish.
Man, I feel like a woman.
Somebody record this. Could someone record this, please?
You got to say it without the effects, though. That would be like...
Yeah, that kind of does throw it a little bit.
You got to say kind of nonchalant. Man,
yeah, no, it's the nonchalant.
I feel like a woman.
So that way we just have a bumper. Like, it's just a thing to throw in. Like,
man, I feel like a woman.
Are you guys excited about going to Atlantic City? We're going to be partying. We're going to be hitting the clubs. Howie, what do you think? Man, I feel like a woman. Like,
speaking of, before we wrap the show, Howie, tell us about Atlantic City.
Well,
tell us about Tuesday night.
In 2 weeks, we are going to be at a place called Beret, and it's going to be wild. It's free. The first 100 business cards in the bucket are going to get a free drink ticket, and then all of the cards will be eligible to win Pioneer DJ headphones and other swag. And it's going to go from 8 until whenever. They're doing drink specials and so forth, and food specials for us all night long.
Tell them about the food, Howie.
Oh, dude, they got barbecue. They have a real smoker out back. They have ribs. They have brisket. They have pulled pork. They have alligator jambalaya. They have alligator sausage bites. I mean, it's
wow.
It's amazing, and it's only a year old technically because the COVID was, it's a beautiful, beautiful venue. We have a 20 by 20 stage. You guys are going to be DJing on, and
who's DJing?
Well, we have the one and only Jimmy Spin, our graphics artist. We have John C. from Boston. We affectionately call him Boston John is going to be spinning.
That'll be dope.
Yeah. I had heard that. Well, of course, our own Dan Carpenter will be spinning.
Very
and
nice.
I heard a rumor that some guy named, I heard he's kind of a big deal, Jay Brannan from California.
Not the same Jay Brannan that just opened for John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
That guy, yeah.
That's the guy.
I've heard good things. I've heard good things.
Yeah.
I've heard he's doing a wax track set.
Ex-porn star.
I've heard he's doing a wax track set. And that night he'll be DJing under the name Johnny Wad.
Man of the cloth.
I'm thinking so. I'm trying to find, let me see if I have the...
Is there a flyer?
There is a flyer here, and here they are. And let me bring it up, and let me go back here, and I will share screen for everyone.
By the way, this just in, a band that Brian didn't mention, that he didn't care for, wouldn't go see, but now has decided he would go see, is a gentleman by the name of Michael W. Smith.
Oh, awesome. So as you can see on here, 8 until, and it's a 10-minute walk from the host hotel, which is the Hard Rock, and just, walk the boardwalk for 10 minutes and you just make a right and there you are. And this is what the place looks like inside. This is going to be our stage. So we'll be able to seat people front and on either side. And this is, believe it or not, it's only a year old. And then the COVID hit, sadly, but they kept going and we booked the place. So
I got to start saving my appetite now because I'm seeing those little totes on the tables with barbecue sauce in them and stuff. Like,
man.
I'll probably be in a rib coma by 10 o'clock.
But by the way, I was told last night by my cousin Lisa, who many of you may or may not know from our experience.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Her comment to me was, I said, what do you know about Beret? And she goes, oh, it's modeled after the Stone Pony in Asbury Park. So I haven't been to the Stone Pony. You have, Howie. Is that what it looks like inside?
It very, very similar. It's got, it's all blacked out. It's made for bands.
That's what she said. She's like, this is like their version of Stone Pony in Atlantic City.
Yes.
So that in itself I'm excited about because I haven't been to the famous Stone Pony starting point for one of Brian S. Red's favorite bands, Bruce Springsteen, and probably a band that Brian listens to on a daily basis.
I have a lot of respect for Bruce Springsteen. I just want to make that clear.
No. But,
I may not enjoy the music or listen to the albums.
As I would imagine, a band that we all know Brian is an aficionado, but I'm pretty confident that he cannot name one song from the following act Southside Johnny and the Asbury, Jukes.
Yep.
I'm confident, Brian, nothing. Flatline, zero, no vinyl behind him. Absolutely zero.
Stump the DJ.
So anyway, Howie, back
cute.
to the...
That's cute. And you know, cliche, but that's fine. You know,
so I mean, that's you know,
Brian, will you be our MC, so to speak, and do the?
We'll see what happens. We'll see how the ribs settle, and you know, maybe I'll get on the mic. We'll see how it goes.
All right.
It's all based on the food. I gotta love it.
All right, because
wait. This just in. Brian may have the Mustang there. Wait, is Brian giving rides?
Brian's not driving.
This just in.
Brian's not driving to the East Coast with a 3-speed automatic transmission. No.
Oh yeah, no. I just got rid of.
Give me an overdrive transmission in that car, and I will drive it to wherever you want me to drive.
No, there's nothing like hearing that click at 43 miles an hour and going, "That's all I got." Even if I do 70, I'm still grinding it.
It's like I'm rapping like 2,200 RPM. It's like, wow, I'm doing 60. This is nice. No, can't do that.
No.
So anyway, guys, thanks so much. Thank you, Lori, for your contributions tonight and being our wealth of knowledge and resources for stuff that we couldn't quite figure out off the top of our heads. Thank you.
Yeah.
Howie, as always, thank you so much for everything you do. And Pastor Jay, we will be talking soon.
Yes.
And
we will be in Atlantic City. I can't wait to give you a hug. Haven't seen you in a couple of years.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Been a while.
Too long.
Can't wait.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Stay well, everybody.